From the very beginning, television was never just about entertainment. It was about representation, identity, and the power to shape how millions of people saw themselves and the world around them. In the 1970s, as America struggled with the aftermath of the civil rights movement, racial tension, economic inequality, and a desperate hunger for authentic black voices on screen, Good Times arrived like a lightning bolt. It wasn't just another sitcom, it was a cultural breakthrough. Debuting in 1974, Good Times followed the Evans family, a struggling but determined household living in the projects of Chicago. For the first time on primetime television, viewers saw a working-class black family that wasn't just a stereotype or a supporting act. They were the story. John Amos played James Evans, the hard-working father trying to keep his family afloat with discipline and dignity. Esther Rolle brought incredible depth to Florida Evans, the loving but no-nonsense mother who anchored the family with moral strength. And then came their children, Michael, Thelma, and of course J.J. Evans, played by Jimmie Walker. At first, J.J. wasn't written to be the breakout star. He was supposed to be part of the family dynamic, a lanky young man with artistic dreams trying to navigate life in poverty. But when Jimmie Walker stepped into the role, everything changed. His natural comedic timing, his elastic physicality, and that booming catchphrase, Dy-no-mite, became a phenomenon. Within months, Walker wasn't just a cast member, he was the face of the show. America couldn't get enough of J.J. Evans. Kids mimicked him on playgrounds. Adults repeated his catchphrase at the water cooler. Magazines splashed Jimmie Walker across their covers, and late-night talk shows begged him to appear. He had become a household name. But while the audience was laughing, the cast was quietly fuming. Behind the scenes, tension simmered. John Amos and Esther Rolle, both trained, serious actors, had envisioned Good Times as a meaningful show, a series that highlighted real-life struggles like unemployment, racism, teenage pregnancy, and the importance of education. They wanted the Evans family to be a mirror for Black America, showing both the challenges and the resilience that defined everyday life. But as J.J. took over more and more of the storylines, that vision began to fade. The scripts increasingly revolved around J.J.'s antics, his wild clothes, his over-the-top expressions, and his constant wisecracks. What had started as a powerful family sitcom began to feel, in the eyes of Amos and Rolle, like a minstrel show. The more J.J. acted like a clown, the less space there was for the dignity and seriousness of the Evans family's struggles. And Jimmie Walker himself, he saw it too. In later interviews, Walker admitted that Good Times wasn't what it could have been. He confessed that there were no black writers in the room, meaning the people scripting the lives of this black family had no lived experience with poverty, systemic racism, or the realities of life in the projects. The jokes, he said, often felt hollow, cartoons of black life rather than reflections of it. Amos and Rolle fought back. They pushed against the scripts. They demanded stories with substance. They wanted to show black families as strong, resilient, and complex, not just laughingstocks. But the network executives weren't listening. The ratings told them everything they wanted to know. J.J. was the star, and Dy-no-mite was the moneymaker. The clash was inevitable. John Amos, unwilling to compromise his principles, was written out of the show. His character, James Evans, was killed off in a shocking storyline that left audiences devastated. Esther Rolle, equally disillusioned, left soon after. She would eventually return, but the heart of the show had already been ripped out. What had begun as a groundbreaking series about family had become, in many ways, a one-man comedy show. And while Jimmie Walker enjoyed the spotlight, he was also isolated by it. Walker revealed years later that there was no real camaraderie on set. Once the cameras stopped rolling, the cast went their separate ways. There were no off-screen friendships, no shared laughter, no family bond. The tension had bled too deeply into the production. For Walker, it was a lonely kind of success. He was adored by millions, yet alienated from the very people he worked alongside every day. The irony was brutal. The character of JJ had been written as the family clown, the one who never quite grew up. In real life, Jimmie Walker was treated the same way, propped up as the star, but left carrying the burden of blame for the show's creative decline. Even as his face appeared on magazine covers and his catchphrase echoed across America, Walker admitted he felt like he wasn't truly himself on screen. The scripts controlled him, the network defined him, and the very role that made him famous also trapped him in a box. He could never quite escape. Yet, despite all the conflict, Good Times left a permanent mark. For millions of viewers, especially Black audiences, the Evans family was more than just entertainment. They were representation in an era where representation was scarce. Florida Evans' strength, James Evans' discipline, and even JJ's humor created conversations in living rooms across the country. The show tackled issues like gun violence, teenage pregnancy, and systemic racism at a time when most sitcoms wouldn't touch them. The legacy of Good Times is complicated, part groundbreaking representation, part painful reminder of missed opportunities. For Jimmie Walker, it is both the pinnacle of his career and the shadow he has never outrun. He is forever J.J. Evans, forever Dy-no-mite, forever the star who both built and broke one of television's most iconic shows.